Okay, guys, this video is kind of a tips and tricks on this week for assignment one, part one. And this is the type and image relationships, design in everyday life, first iteration. Now, this assignment, first thing I want to do is I want to talk about instructions. Okay, the reason I think this is imperative is that in last week's assignment, um, typographic hierarchies, there was a few instances where the instructions were interpreted incorrectly. And the reason I bring this up is because I want to kind of make this correlation between the responsibilities of a designer and the way that you're presented instructions. So when you transition into your professional career, you're going to be handed lists of instructions for any assignment that you might be given. And that is typically handed down from a art director or a creative director. Or even through conversations with a client. Now, sometimes those instructions are not the most clear, and it's really incumbent on a designer to interpret those instructions correctly and to create a visual manifestation of those instructions to a very, very high degree. Okay, the reason I bring that up is because these instructions are also somewhat complex. Okay, and it's incumbent on the student to really study these instructions until you understand exactly what is going on. We saw in the typographic hierarchies assignment that some students didn't go through the entire list of instructions. Some students interpret them incorrectly. If you have any questions at all on these instructions, please let me know before you get started. So I'm again trying to show you this correlation between the interpretation of instructions and how it is incumbent on a designer to correctly manifest those instructions. Okay, whether that designer be, in this case, a student designer, or even when you transition into your professional careers. Okay, enough of that. Week 4, assignment 4, part 1. So this is all about understanding how you can take attributes from an image and apply those to a layout. And then also how we can incorporate typography to complement both the layout and the image. Okay, now at this point, I want to take you over to the course lectures, okay? And we'll note that in week 4, there are 3 presentations. Each one is extremely important. Presentation 1, form and counterform. Presentation 2 is typographic paragraph formatting. Again, this is really important, and you need to understand this lecture in order to understand some of the videos from the week 4 announcements. And then at that point, we go to the third presentation for week 4, and this one is the one I'm after right here, presentation 3. And I've got that open right here. And this is presentation 3, interaction of words with pictures. This, guys, is a phenomenal lecture. It's fantastic. It really is. It's more about understanding how to use image and words than it is about really giving you typographic rules and regulations, etc., tips, tricks, etc. And that's all done. I mean, if you take a look at the Welcome to Week 4 announcement, you'll see a ton of tips and tricks in order to show you how to set your typography for any given project. But right now, we're going to concentrate on the marriage of words with pictures, so to speak. So this is a really great way to start, because this ad right here, it shows you how to take a look at this image and decipher how you're going to set your type based on what we have in the image. The video explains things to a very high degree. This video is a must-see. I would watch it, I would think about it, then I would watch it again, I would think about it, then I would watch it again. It's that good, guys. Yes, it is. It deals with visual critical analysis, how to take attributes from an image and incorporate them into a layout. We have a couple of different things here. We have a critical visual analysis, which is common to any technique you use. We have implied and or directional lines. This is how you can use image to direct a viewer to a specific portion of the layout. Then we have visual mimicry and correspondence. And I really, really want to talk about that, and I'll continue on that in a second. We have the juxtaposition of type and image. We have special effects with type in touching or overlapping, and why we would do that, and some of the effects, proximity and conceptual relationships. Then we have objective type relationships, visual substitution. These are all outstanding techniques to incorporate image with type and layout. But right now, I'm going to concentrate on this one, visual mimicry and correspondence. Now, please note that a lot of these other elements will be present in your compositions. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to do a composition of proximity and conceptual relationships. It's quite likely that these attributes can be visible or be present in a poster where you're using and concentrating on visual mimicry and correspondence. So what I'm saying is these aren't isolated. Sometimes they fit together, and it's a great job to try to plan them to fit together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about visual mimicry and correspondence. And again, this is a great video, but how do we take a look at an image and decide what we can use into the image and create our layout choices based on that? And this right here is just a fantastic description of what I'm talking about here. Now, I want to use an example, and I'm going to show you an example of a very, very successful project for this assignment. This is from a previous student, and let me describe this. Why is this successful? Okay, first of all, it displays all the attributes of the instructions, okay? Now, let me take a look at this, and I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to describe why this is such a successful layout. All right, let's start with the typographic composition for the headline. It's beautiful. It's really planned out and laid out beautifully. I have to admit, it's really interesting to look at. Note some of the color choices, and I'll talk about all of these choices in a second. But the next thing we note is these kind of leading lines right here, okay? Then note the circle pattern shape of the images, okay? And then note the image itself. All right, now let's take it apart, guys. Let's deconstruct it. Let's dissect this and determine what's going on. All right, so we have design in everyday life with this circle with the word N in it. Note the circle, the color of the circle is the same color as the coffee machine. And the circle itself is taken right from the image. There's a circle right there on the logo. Note these three circles right here in the logo within the window. See those three circles right there? You guessed it. They're mimicked again right over here. 1, 2, 3. So we can see this circle mimicked right here, the color mimicked from the image, and these three image shots mimicked from the three dots in that logo within the window of the coffee machine. Okay. Note the color of everyday also is the same color as the coffee beans, right? Really intense stuff, guys, right? Note the color of the leading lines is also the color of the coffee machine. Over here, the horizontal leading lines are the same color as the coffee beans. So you can see a lot of choices are being taken right from the images themselves. Typographic composition up here is just gorgeous. I want you guys to spend time on the typographic composition for the title area. One of the statistics in our reading this week said that only 5% of readers that read a headline continue on to read the article or the associated text. Guess why, guys? The reason is because if it's not a compelling headline, the viewer is not going to continue. All right, when I say compelling, I mean not only the verbiage, but also the visual attributes of the headline. So definitely want to work on a nice, beautiful typographic composition for the headline area. Okay, now again, we talk about the three dots with the images mimicked right from there. Now also another really interesting thing is this, the lines, these dots right here that kind of lead to the components of the machine. Now note that they're little dots that are falling vertically, right? That is again asking the viewer to use their imagination or forcing the viewer to use their imagination, because that would be the same as the coffee dripping into the cup. Okay, so as we can see, there are some wonderful, wonderful choices being made in this layout. I want to show you another layout. This is another successful. I'm not going to really describe this one, but as you can see, the shape of the main image, look how that image is beautifully cropped and bleeding on three sides. That's gorgeous right there. That's called visual continuation, and that is basically where we see a portion of an object, and our mind is able to fill it out and decipher exactly what it is. Note also the shape of the images, the shape of the headlight. The road, the basic road itself, mimicked here in the underline. Note typography, okay? Beautiful drop cap right there. Really nice typeset here. The rags here are set in a way to fit in that little crevice right there. So that's why the rags are shaped the way they are. Okay, so to a very high degree, these are outstanding and excellent examples. So I just wanted to kind of explain these to you and show you the attributes and kind of describe designers' decisions and how they relate to such a successful project. Okay, any questions at all, please let me know, guys. Thank you very much.